Okay, I'm live. All right. Okay, so everyone who is watching, thank you and welcome to Amerikano Update. My name is Andres Chang. I'm coming to you from Davao, the Philippines. And today is Sunday, 2 January 2022. It is 4:01 p.m. here in the Philippines, so it is 12:01 a.m. in California. $1 will buy you 51 pesos. And because of the events of Typhoon Odette, welcome to, and or also known as Typhoon Rai, welcome to the first episode of Amerikano Update. And we're going to be talking about Typhoon Odette hit the center of the Philippines on the 16th of December. And it basically tore through the center of the Philippines, including Surigao, Bohol, Cebu, Southern Leyte. That's not by no means is a complete list. Some communities have been just destroyed, homes crushed. It's been 2.5 weeks, 400 dead. Let me say that again, 400 dead from the typhoon. It's been 2.5 weeks. Power has not yet been fully restored to many areas, to many people. Water has not yet been restored to many people. Communications have not been restored to many people. And right now, I'm going to bring on a guest. This guest is actually a survivor. His name is Rob Parisien. Rob is a Canadian living in Cebu. Rob is an international award-winning street art photographer. He can be found at chasingtheimage.com. I'll put a link to his site and to his YouTube channel in the description. Rob is also my friend. And Rob lived through Typhoon Odette in Cebu and is living in its aftermath.
Hey.
Okay. Hey,
Hi,
Rob,
Andres.
what's up?
How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Not too bad, considering.
Yeah, considering. So it's very important for the world to know what happened, what is happening. So can you please tell us, you were living in Cebu, the typhoon hit. What happened to you? Tell us your personal experience, please.
Well, I guess I'm sort of lucky compared to a lot. We live in an area in the Tri-Cities of Cebu area, which is made up of Cebu City, Lapu-Lapu, where the airport is, and Mandawi. And Mandawi connects to Cebu City proper. So we have a fairly modern house, so it's very well built and very well structured. So the night of the 16th, when the typhoon hit, quite frankly, actually, everybody around Cebu, we were shopping, we were at the mall, it was a normal day. Nobody was really, and what I viewed, nobody was really concerned about any kind of storm, which I thought was kind of weird. I mean, and I still look back on it as very strange because just to sidetrack for a second, I lived in Macau, China for a number of years, doing a theater show there. And we had two of the biggest typhoons in Hong Kong, Macau history hit. And they weren't ready for it and it destroyed them. The second one, they boarded up the windows, put tape on, boarded up the doors, and they essentially boarded up windows too. If they didn't, they put X's on all the windows. They prepared. But Cebu City and Mandawi, where I was that day, nobody prepared anything. It was a normal day. So when we got home, I think the typhoon hit, if I'm not mistaken, it started getting windy around 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and then it progressively got worse and worse. And then that's when I realized that, holy geez, I go, this thing is a real typhoon. I mean, I honestly didn't even think it was going to be anything. I thought it was going to be a windy day. So because I've been through two T10, which is the worst typhoon classification in Hong Kong and Macau, I knew what to expect if we were going to get to that high. But at that point in time, when the reality struck in, we were only told that we were going to be, I think it's called signal here compared to T back in Hong Kong, signal 3, meaning 1 is the least, 2 and 3, all the way up to 5. So I thought, okay, well, it'll be a signal 3. That'll be equal. I see our connection. By the way, I'm on a SIM card cell connection, so if it breaks up a bit, we still don't have internet restored here. So anyways, I thought at worst.
Okay, it looks like we're having some technical issues, and that's too bad. Okay. Excuse me. All right, so let's. Oh,
Okay, so
Rob, you back?
do you still see me? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so let's continue.
Okay, sorry guys. There's going to be on and off technical issues here for sure because I'm using a SIM card, and it's actually quite amazing that I'm even getting an internet signal even 15, 16 days after the typhoon, whatever it is. So the night of the typhoon, I thought it was going to be pretty much nothing. The wind started picking up, and then because of my experience with typhoons in the past, I sort of could tell that this was not going to be any normal little bit of wind or like a signal 2 or a T2 or whatever, a T3. And then it started getting worse and worse. And at some point, we decided to just even open our front door to our little community. We live in a little cul-de-sac, if you want to call it, of 14 really well-built modern houses. And I walked outside of my house, just literally by my door, and I could see the power of Odette. And it was probably around a signal 3 at that point, maybe hedging on a 4. And we said, oh my God, this is going to be bad. There were already trees down, branches flowing all over the place. We were hearing crashing of metal and all this kind of stuff. Our windows were shaking. So we went back inside, and then another hour passed, and it started getting progressively worse. I mean, the thing was that I noticed the difference between Odette and the typhoons in Macau was when the winds were at its peak, at least sounded at its peak, they didn't sustain for long periods of time. They only sustained for like 20 seconds, 10 seconds, then they'd go down, then they come back again. Whereas if I compared to the other typhoons I went through, they sustained those high winds for like 2-3 minutes at a time. So that's what I noticed anyways. That was the beginning and the middle of the typhoon.
Wow. So Rob, can I? So then, let me ask: did the government give you any warning?
Maybe they did, and I didn't see it. Personally, I heard there was a typhoon coming through. I probably heard it through social media and maybe, probably social media. And then some people were talking about it. And honestly, for some reason, I guess I'm an idiot, but I didn't think that Cebu got typhoons. I knew very little about it. So I lived most of my life in the Philippines and Davao, and where you are, and we don't get typhoons. So I never thought about a typhoon. So it shocked me too. It really shocked the hell out of me. So the government probably did tell people. I just didn't notice it, or I shrugged it off.
Mm-hmm. And to our viewers, we had some connectivity issues earlier, and I think that speaks to the damage that is still there in Cebu right now. I don't know if Manila was affected, but and I don't know if Davao was affected, but we did have some internet issues after the typhoon hit. The typhoon didn't hit us, but we did have some internet connectivity issues, and I don't know if that's related or not. So tell us what happened after the typhoon passed your air, after the storm. These typhoons, they're a circle. So the
Yeah.
circle then left your area. You're no longer in the storm. You're no longer in the circle. What happened?
Well, I mean, to continue where I left off with your last question, during the storm, the power was flickering for a while, so we knew the winds were getting worse. It would flicker, come back on. It did it about 10 times over about a half hour, and then the final boof went. And that's when the power was gone, and we never saw power again for 4 or 5 days after that point. So when the storm um, what we call the eye of the storm. And I'm used to the eye of the storm because of my past experience with typhoons. That's when is the most dangerous time for people because they think the storm is over and they go outside and then they get caught and the storm is back more fierce than ever, right? I thought we were in the eye of the storm. My friend is one of my neighbors 2 doors down. We went outside and we looked at the initial damage. It was dark outside still. It was probably around after 10 p.m., I guess. And we just saw like the damage in the darkness, and we could see it was tremendous. But we didn't walk far. We just walked between houses, chatted for a little while, and then we started hearing the wind pick up again. So we said, okay, we're getting out of here. We're going back home just so we don't get caught in the eye of the storm. But then we found out that we had some gusts and it felt like the storm was back at different times, but it never amounted to anything. So in fact, when I went outside was the end of the storm, but it was just little bits of wind here and there. Then we found out later, days later, that the eye of the storm was nowhere near Cebu. It was somewhere else. It might have been in Leyte or Siargao or someplace like that. So we were never in the center of the storm, but the storm was so powerful that it destroyed Cebu City. That shows you the power of Odette. It was absolutely incredible. So going forward now, the next morning, we pretty much stayed up all night. I couldn't sleep, right? I was anxious to go outside, see what was left, see if there was damage to this house, not this virtual house, but the real house, and see what was going on in the community. So we got out as soon as the daylight broke, and holy jeez, I mean, just in my little complex, there were all the wires were down, trees were down, bushes were down, people's in these modern houses, their siding off their houses were down, stuff that they had in their backyards were all blown over. And then myself and my wife took a walk down because, of course, I do YouTube as well. And we wanted to see the damage and maybe get some shots and see how the people were doing. So we went out on the main road, which is AS Fortuna, that anybody knows in Cebu. It Mandawi and AS Fortuna connect to Cebu City proper. So we went right outside and flooding everywhere. So we had to walk through knee-high water in the middle of the road just to get anywhere. I would say conservatively, every second store or business had damage, i.e., windows blown out, metal, shingling gone, signs lying on the ground. Our complex, the big sign lying on the ground, all the next door neighbors, all their signs all over the place, windows bashed, construction sites across the street, all of the work they did building these whatever business or condos or whatever they are was all blown apart. And then we went down a road called Remedios, anybody that knows Cebu in Mandawi. It's a road that's very close to us. It's right where Jollibee is. The storm was so bad that the Jollibee sign was straight like this. Normally, it was like that when we walked by it. So Jollibee was destroyed. So then we walked down Remedios and we met a lot of families. There were power transformers lying on the ground. You could not drive through the street at all. Like many transformers down. Roofs of people's houses were missing. They had many gardens with plants and stuff all torn up. But all the people, which is amazing about the Philippines, and here in Cebu, and I know in Davao, because I do a lot of work with photography and YouTube in the poor areas of Davao. The people here, like the day after, I mean, in the morning, 5 a.m., right after, they're standing outside and they still have a smile on their face. I mean, I was amazed. They were still friendly. Everybody was pooling together. Some guys offered me the coconut trees had fallen, so they were offering me coconuts to drink. And it just shows you the spirit of the Filipinos. And it's no different in a city like Cebu than even Davao or probably anywhere else in the Philippines, right? So, yeah, we spent like a good couple hours walking down and seeing the devastation in those areas. So I knew just from that this storm was absolutely devastating, severe. I could only imagine how bad it is near the water. I never went to Lapu-Lapu. I heard it's very bad there. Anywhere around the water, the storm was worse. And anywhere like in the outlying villages, Siargao is completely destroyed. I'm sure you could tell your viewers all about those places. My experience is directly just in the Mandaue area. And yeah, I mean, I could just go on forever. So just ask me anything else you want to know.
How's your wife and your daughter holding up? Because you have a daughter and she's not even a year old. Is that right?
Well, yeah, that's another thing that was very difficult was the storm, quite frankly, for us, was the easy part. They were scared. I wasn't really scared because I knew what to expect. And I knew we're in a solid house. So I would be very surprised if this house took any damage at all, unless like a tree blew through a window or something. So I wasn't really scared, but it was the aftermath that got me. Is after we came back that day, that morning of looking at the devastation, just in our immediate walkable area, I knew we were in trouble. So what happened was we didn't have a house. We had a house, but we couldn't use it anymore. So we had to move. It was so hot because, you know, the Philippines is so hot, right? And Cebu was really hot. The weather was good the next day. We couldn't stand it. I mean, I'm a Canadian. I'm used to snow and cold weather. I've been living in the tropics for many years, but I at least need a fan when I can't get a aircon. I'm kind of spoiled that way. So we couldn't stand living in the house. All of our food had gotten, like, this is over a progression of time. We tried to save it, but all of our food got destroyed. We had to move outside into our open garage just to stay cool during the day. And we, in fact, stayed up all night lying we call it on the street, but it was part of our house, right? And our neighbors, this is another cool thing about the Filipinos and just neighborhood camaraderie or whatever the word is. We have a puso. Do you know what a puso is?
No, what's that?
Okay, my good friend Commander Dodd, if anybody's watching this stream, he runs his own YouTube channel too. He has many subscribers and he's very popular. He does a really good thing. I met up with him here in Cebu. He told me what a puso was. Puso is this old cranking water thing in our backyard, and you just pump it. And what it does is it stores rainwater. It's not a well, it's just collected rainwater over a period of time. We've never used it. We didn't even know what it was. I thought it was a well. So we found out that we were only originally we were the only ones to have a puso. So all of our neighbors were coming over, doing their laundry, taking showers. We were getting water for showers. We were doing laundry. And then eventually, after a day or two, we ran out and the puso ran dry. And then we found out our next door neighbor had a puso. So there's 2 pusos out of 14 houses that everybody shared just to stay cool, to have water for showering and water for laundry if they want to keep their clothes clean. And then we would just share food back and forth between our neighbors, lights. Some people had solar lights. And we basically, for lack of a better word, we became campers in our own house, right? So that was the hard part. And your question about how the wife and how the baby Amelia did, she's only 6 weeks old, so it was really rough on her. I was getting really worried about her because she was getting sick all the time, throwing up because of heat exhaustion. We just couldn't get her into a better situation. So I was trying everything to try and figure out where we could flee or where we could leave and try and remedy the situation. We stuck it out for about 4 days. We had enough drinking water to survive. And then the drinking water slowly started leaving us. And then we started getting really worried. And that's when, boof, one day, the power came back. I think, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure if we did research on it, we were the first housing unit in Mandawi or Cebu City or the Tri-Cities to get power back. I'm not sure why, but I think it's because of just the way the electrical system works, and Visayan Electric is connected to Mandawi, and we're close by. So we were lucky enough to have power back within 4 days. Now, 80% of Cebu, as we speak right now, still doesn't have power. So we're extremely lucky, and I'm thankful for that. So that helped our baby out, helped ourselves out. So after that, we were able to regroup. We weren't sure if the power was going to go out again, but we had running water again, and we had power. That's huge. So we were lucky. Thank God for that. And the baby started feeling better. But then the water lineup started. Water was gone. No water to be found. The only thing Absolute was giving out water from, I think they have a factory really 100 feet away from where we live. And you would have to wait in line up for about 4 hours, and you're allotted 1 box of Absolute water. So we lived on that for a little while, and then that ran out. So the whole city was without water. So we were boiling water at that point to bathe the baby, and we still had a reserve stock of Absolute water to drink and used for baby formula and that to get us by. And then about a week, I don't know, I can't tell you the exact time limits, but by maybe a week after that, finally we started seeing more water come back in Cebu. Yeah, and that's the transition there.
Wow. So Rob, what's your situation now? I mean, you're there, you're on the ground. What is what do you need? What do people need? What what do you need? And what's the situation on the ground right now?
Well,
As we
we go
speak.
outside as we speak. Well, I got to tell you, just a few days back, it progressed from where I said that the water started showing up. There were originally lineups at the gas station about 10 hours to get even a liter of gas. There were lineups to get people money out of bank machines. I saw them myself. Even I'm in a video with Commander Dot. He showed the lineups for the ATM machines. That was literally maybe 5 days ago. So the progression in the last week, I say, is tremendous. We went from no power anywhere to running over to the only places that were open were grocery stores in malls. There was a coffee shop that was open, and there was 1,000 people in it. I took some videos of it. I wish I could play it or show you, but it's on my channel if you guys look. Where you'd see like piles of cell phones and battery chargers. Everybody's charging everything they can. All massive lineups trying to get into the one spot that they could have internet. All three. We've got Smart, we got Glow, we got Ditto, we got Smart Bro, we got, oh, you name it, Talk and Text, all of those not working. No SIM cards working, no fiber working, no Converge, no Glow, nothing working. So that was our only hope. That was at the very beginning. So from that progression onwards to where we sit today is quite remarkable in the city. I would say today, what is it, 15, 16 days since the storm? I'd say, don't quote me on this, but I think 20% of Cebu is with power now. I don't know about every single mall, but quite a few of the malls are fully open, full powered. The gas lineups are reasonable now. The ATM machines are reasonable. If you're looking for remittances from Western Union or Palawan or any of Cebuana, any of those places, you could never do it before. All their lines are down. More and those have come back. So people that are looking to have money sent from overseas to them, they're able to get it now. And they started something that they did the other day, and I believe, what's today, January 2nd? They either did it today or tomorrow, the second one. It's called Clearing Days. It's kind of like a COVID kind of thing where they ask people to stay at home. And, we went into two little small screens here. We went, what was I trying to say? I lost my train of thought.
There was a clearing day, kind of like.
Oh yeah, clearing days. Yeah. Clearing days are basically where they ask people to stay at home and not go out on the street with cars or anything, so they could bring the big trucks in and start taking away the debris, because there's so much debris around Cebu City and the Tri-Cities. It's mind-blowing. Like, it's so much. So they're slowly trying to get rid of all the debris. A lot of the businesses still aren't open. Many businesses are closed still today. But the big places, like the malls, are open. Hotels were open. They were running on backup generators. But the problem was they were running out of diesel and out of gas for the generators. So back even when I met Commander Dodd, the hotel he was staying at, they shut the generator off all day, turn it on at nighttime. So he was without power during the day. So now I think governor of the area, Gwen, made a ruling that all this was a while ago now, I'm not sure if it's still in effect, but she made a ruling that only returning Filipinos from OFWs are allowed to use hotels. So a lot of people in Cebu fled to the nearby islands, like Bantayan Island. I'm not sure if you heard of that place. I've never been there myself. It's on my bucket list of going. It's apparently quite nice. My neighbor couldn't take it anymore, and he left. So at the beginning stages, Bantayan was good. They never were hit by the storm. So a lot of Cebu people that live here just fled to Bantayan. It was the closest place for them to go. And then they had internet. They got everything, just all the regular stuff that you would have. So that was a relief for some people.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. So that's the situation. 2.5 weeks since Odette. Okay, Rob. So let's stop the interview now. And but you know what, Rob? Why don't we? Can you come back on? Let's talk. Maybe you'll come back on this time next week, and then update us. And I'd like to stay on this story until it is excuse me, until it is no longer a story, until Cebu is back to normal. So thank you very much.
Can I say one last thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I say
man.
one
Please,
last thing?
Please. Yes.
I just want to I want to give a plug to our fellow YouTubers, even though I don't really know these guys personally, but I follow their channels, and I think you could probably give them a link in the description. These guys are big YouTubers. They probably don't need our help, but I just feel that they're really taking an effort like yourself to make a difference to the lives of the people that are heavily affected by Typhoon Odette. I just want to say, first of all, Commander Dodd, he's pulling out whatever he can do with his media personality and who he is on YouTube to try and help people. So I give my if I had hats off to Commander Dodd, number one. Number two, I don't know him, but Tim Kay and his wife, Chrissy, if nobody follows their channel, they live in southern Leyte. You might want to connect with them. They're bringing aid into those areas, which are real heavily hit with a lot of deaths and a lot of turmoil. So I commend them for what they're doing. And also Finn Snow. I can't go without saying something about Finn Snow and his wife or his girlfriend. They're pulling out all the stops to help people in his area, which these people live more in the province, right? They're not in the city. And of course, one of the main guys in the Philippines, Kyle Jennerman, becoming Filipino. Of course, we all know that he's going to do something. And again, I don't know these guys personally. I only know Commander, but I watch their channels. And hats off to those guys for doing what you can to help the Philippines rebuild.
Okay.
And hats off to you for starting this channel and trying to make a difference and give people information about this natural disaster that's been just terrible for many lives.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks a lot for coming on. I hope I'll talk to you again. We'll do this again.
We got
the exact same
freeze on the video there.
Yeah.
Well, our internet held up pretty good while it did. If you're hearing me.
Yeah. Things are not back to normal, and our internet, our tech, our communication issues are why we are. Or I mean, things are not back to normal, and that's why we've had some communication issues in this video. And so thanks a lot, Rob, for coming on. I'll let you go now, and let's do this again next week. Okay?
Oh, there you are. You're back.
Oh, okay. We'll see how this video turns out. Okay. All right. Well, thanks again. So I'll let you go now, Rob, and we'll.
You're back now. Again. I heard you there. So yeah, you're right, Andres.
Okay. So and now I'm losing Rob. Okay. Well, anyway, these tech issues are because because Cebu is not back to normal. I think we've lost Rob. If we lost. And hopefully Rob will be back with us next week. Okay, so we've lost Rob. Thank you so much, Rob. I hope you come back next week and update us. And the people in the affected areas still do not have power. They still do not have water. They still do not have communication. As you could tell watching this video, Rob and I were having some communication issues, and that's because things are not yet back to normal 2.5 weeks since Odette hit. I also want to shout out, Rob did some shout outs to some YouTubers. I want to shout out a local YouTuber, the Filipina P, very popular, lots of subscribers, thousands of subscribers, thousands of views on all of her channels. She herself led a relief effort. If you go to her channel, I'll put a link to her channel in the description. Excuse me. And she went to a small village near Dumaguete, and it was just destroyed. And just for those of us who do not live in the Philippines, look, before COVID and before this typhoon and before COVID, before this typhoon and before COVID, the Philippines was already a poor country, or a developing country, or a third world country, whatever the terminology is that we use. The infrastructure, even before the typhoon and before COVID, power was not reliable, internet was not reliable, water was not always reliable. And now we have this disaster, this natural disaster, which has hit. It has been catastrophic. Some people, like I said, 400 people are dead. I know I'm repeating myself, but I really want to emphasize that the people in central Philippines, they need help. They need the government to go in there. They need the military to go in there. People need, not just from Rob, but from other people I've been talking to. Thanks, Rob. And they need water. They need power. They need generators. They need fuel for the generators. That's diesel. They need oil to run these generators. And until communication gets back up, it would be a good idea to send in, I think, radios, handheld radios, walkie-talkies, because like Rob said, there were all those people trying to charge up their power banks, trying to get a signal. So they need everything. I know that I spoke with the Red Cross. I know they're going to some of the affected areas. They have missions. I myself am personally trying to organize a private relief mission. I have been talking to Commander Duat, and we've been communicating. We'll see how that goes. We need individuals who are pilots and who have planes, and we need to donate food and water and generators and oil for the generators and fuel for the generators. So if please get in contact with myself, or if you have the means, do it. If you've got a small plane, and if you are a pilot, and if you can buy some water, if you're in Manila or in Davao and you can help, please help. In my opinion, supplies really need to be airlifted in there. Here on the island of Mindanao, you can drive to Surigao del Norte, and you can organize your own private relief mission. I had been actually planning this YouTube channel for a while, and then I was going to do the typical YouTube thing. Oh, end of the year review, and cover the news. But then the typhoon hit, so that's why I'm talking about the typhoon right now. And now I'm going to go into a little bit of my own commentary and a little bit of my own rant. The As I said before, the Philippines was already a country where the pre-typhoon and pre-COVID, the infrastructure was not very reliable. The power, the water, the internet, they were not very reliable. And this, of course, has to do with climate change. The United States is the richest country in the world, the biggest contributor to climate change. And the United States is also suffering from climate change, record wildfires, but they're a rich country. And poor countries like the Philippines, which are not contributing to climate change, are suffering from the consequences of climate change. And what does that tell us? What that tells us is that the rich countries of the world, specifically the United States and Europe, are not doing enough to fight climate change because the effects are here. They're already here. They're upon us. The people in central Philippines have lived through it. And the other thing that this tells us economically is that billionaire philanthropy will not save us. Millionaire philanthropy will not save us. When you have a country like the Philippines, which has a which I would describe as a weak central state, which cannot respond to these kind of disasters quickly, then that's okay. You have the private sector to step in. Well, the private sector isn't stepping in. Okay, we've seen billionaires, what they're doing with their money. They're flying in space in rocket shapes with very interesting shapes that look like rockets and other things, which I can't say because then this video might get flagged by YouTube. But it's very important that anyone watching this, if you can help. Please get in contact with me. Again, the Filipina P has a terrific video about this, which really puts everything into perspective. I'm going to put a link to that video in the description. You just heard Rob talk about just the damage. They can't even, or they need time, and this is going to take time. They're going to take time to. They need time to clear the streets of debris so that everyone can get back to their lives. Rob was talking about how the water was running out. People need water. Like I said before, and one thing I didn't mention, pre-typhoon, pre-COVID, not only was the water, the power, and the internet unreliable, but there was a lot of poverty. People didn't have enough food and water anyway. There's a lot of homelessness here in the Philippines. And they've been affected by the typhoon as well. They have even less, if that's possible. They had nothing. They have less than nothing now, if that's even possible. So please, if you're watching this and you're in the United States and you're wealthy, get going, get organizing. Some of you might remember Hurricane Katrina, which hit the United States, and that our government at the time was headed by George W. Bush. And it was an absolute failure in our response. And of course, in the United States, it was mostly poor people and poor Black people who had suffered the most damage. We ordinary people had to organize our own private relief missions because the government was not doing enough, the richest and the most powerful country in the world. And we were not able to help our own people Now think about the Philippines, which is not a rich country. And now in the Philippines, I say we because I live here, and my wife is also Filipino. We have to help ourselves, and that's very difficult to do. Something also very interesting that Rob said. Rob said some of the hotels and some of the big malls, they were open. Now, why is that? Now, it is possible that they were open and they had power before anyone else did, before ordinary people did, because they've got money. They have got they are owned by big corporations which have a lot of money to buy these generators to get their power online and to get the water pumping, which takes power. It's not enough to have water; you need power to pump the water through the system, and then of course you need power to cook food, and you need food as well. Some small fishing villages, and this has been reported by the local media and also mentioned briefly in the video from Filipina P. Boats have been destroyed, and that's how a lot of these people, they make their living. They catch fish, they eat it, and they sell what they don't eat. So they can't go back to work. They cannot go back to their livelihoods. They need help. We need help. You can send money, but then the question is, will the stores have bottled water? Will they have food? Will they have the generators? Will they have the diesel? Will they have the oil? Really, the people there need everything. The Philippines is a very religious country, a devoutly Catholic country. The people need prayers. They need prayers and they need action. People really need help. I know I keep saying that, but it really needs to be emphasized. Let me say again, 400 people are no longer with us. They have died. It has been 2.5 weeks since Odette hit. Power is not back yet. Water is not back yet. Communication, internet is not back yet. Please, anyone who's watching this, please help. The people who are affected by this, they really need help. So if you're in Davao and you got a car, fill it up with water and drive all the way up to Surigao. If you are in on unaffected, if do what you can. If you are in a part that is unaffected, but you are close enough, and you have a car, or you know what, tell a taxi driver to drive you to an affected area and go help out. Go get some water and drive over there. So the people in the affected areas, they need help. I think we'll end a little early. We haven't gone the full hour, but I think now is a good time to start. I don't want to, with such a short time left, talk about other topics at this time. Thank you all for watching this brand new channel. Please like, please subscribe, please comment, please turn on notifications. I would like to get 1,000 subscribers, 1,000 views, 1,000 comments. But right now, the people who are affected by Odette, they need everything, a lot more than I need likes, subscribes, and comments and shares. So please like, please subscribe, please turn on bell notifications, please comment, and please share and use what you can to help in the little that you can. Again, hop in your car, hop in a taxi, get some water if you can, and take it to the affected areas. Help out where you can. There are some remote villages that you can only access by foot, and they have been destroyed. That's not hyperbole. They have been destroyed. Every building has been flattened, and if not flattened in some of these communities, at least one wall is missing, or at least one roof is missing, or the roof is missing. So people really need help. This is a disaster. If the international community could really help us out, that would be great. When the big earthquake hit in Haiti, there was the We Are the World concert to help Haiti. It would be great if something similar would happen for Odette. But really, I don't see money as the solution. I see it more basic than that, which is instead of donating money, donate things: food, water, generators, oil to run the generators, fuel to run the generators, radios so people can communicate, bodies. Take yourself there, just show up and say, hey, how can I help? And that would be good too. So I think we'll stop there. Tech, is there anything you want me to, you think I should mention that I've left out? Maybe you want to tell me? All right. And also, Tech, thank you very much. This would not be possible without you. Oh, and also, if anyone needs, if you need someone who's good at tech, who can do everything for you, contact me, because the person who's helping me is terrific. They will help you with your technology needs, be it your own YouTube channel or something else. Let me know and I'll put you in touch with them. Okay, so that's the end of the video. Thank you very much. And, you know, maybe this channel will just turn into the Typhoon Odette channel with weekly updates. We'll see. You know, you never know what life throws at you. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. You have been watching Amerikano Update. My name is Andres Chang, and let's end the video there.